everyone is enjoying this Friday. I want to give Ursula, I know you are parched. You've been introducing people all day. Strange to you because you do it so well. You do it so well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So, as you all heard, manifestation is really one of my pivot points as it pertains to affecting change and breakthroughs in people's lives. And before we get into the laws of manifestation and the tools that are necessary to manifest, I want to really bring our attention, first of all, to how it works in the first place. Some of you may or may not have heard about the laws of attraction, right? And so there's two sides to that coin. Some people look at law of attraction as a spiritual tool. Other people look at it from a more scientific. So wherever you are in your spiritual life, you can apply it to you. So from a spiritual standpoint, the belief is that we are all made of energy, right? And we operate in different frequencies, and our attitudes determine our frequencies. Not only our attitudes, but the people that we choose to be around. Sometimes their energy also affects our frequencies. The scientific piece believes that by focusing on something that you want to create and believing it to happen, you make it possible by taking more risks, by noticing more opportunities, and opening yourself up to different possibilities. So whether you are on a spiritual journey or you are, agnostic and not interested in the spiritual piece in your scientific, there is still something there for you. So when we talk about manifestation, a lot of people use that word loosely. And I'm here to tell you that, it took me a minute to realize most people, when they think about, I want to create I want to create these things in my life, not material things. Sometimes it's relationships with your family. Sometimes it's, having children. Sometimes it's creating a business opportunity. Manifestation does not always mean fancy cars and big houses, right? Sometimes we have to start with the things that are attainable and realistic to us. Not to say those things aren't, but when we get to one place and we are grateful for what we have, then we go to the next place. So I'm going to share with you 5 steps today about manifestation, 5 steps to manifest. And you can use these however you want. I will elaborate on them just a little bit, and then I will leave room for questions, because I think questions are super important, especially from other people, because that's how we get a chance to learn. And when people share their experiences, we learn from that as well. So the first step that I believe in manifestation is, and if you Google manifestation, you're not going to see this step, but through my work, I've learned that this is one of the most important steps. And it is believing that you are worthy of the thing that you want to manifest. You have to believe that you're worthy. Otherwise, whatever energy you're creating or whatever spiritual guru you're connected to, whether it's God or the universe, they believe what you believe in your heart, right? That energy connects to what you believe in your heart. So some of us are out here fronting, right? We acting like we're the bomb diggity, but in our heart, there's some low self-esteem and some beliefs, some core beliefs that are not in alignment with what we said we want. So believe that you're worthy. That is the first step, and it is a big one. And we can talk about that again a little bit later. Visualizing is key, right? So it improves physical performance for those of you that are looking for some physical things, whether it's exercise or you're an athlete and you want to achieve goals. And for someone that has played sports throughout high school, college, for sure, we had to see those things we wanted to create. I had to see myself hitting those balls over the net in volleyball or catching those rebounds. Sometimes we have to see it in order to believe it. Be crystal clear about what it is that you want to create and manifest. And I believe that the term do, be, have, and some of you may have heard that before, but let me share with you what most people believe. They have it backwards. They believe have, be, do, right? If I have this, then I'll be happy, and then I can do this. If I have my man, then I can be joyful, and then I can do this. But really, the key is to do first, be, and then you have it. You have to do it first. If you want joy as your end game, be joy. If it's love, be love, right? Do, be, have. Don't forget that. Do, be, have. And then bring to mind what you would have it look like for you. So as opposed to having that thing first, if it's love, do love, be love, right? And then you'll be surprised what you attract in that space. I've seen it happen a million times. This is where vision boards come into play, affirmations come into play, really key. Affirmations and vision are a part of all of the steps, really, but just in different levels. But for sure, visualizing is really the thing that puts it on in forward motion, feeling it, right? So I always like to say with manifestation, especially if I'm doing like a meditation with a client, if we set our intentions for the week, we experience what it feels like. So if your intention for this week is to eat better, right? Some people have that. I set that intention every week, right? I'm gonna eat better this week. Anyway, so I visualize myself preparing. First of all, I shop. What am I buying? I'm buying healthy food. I'm buying food that I know I'm gonna eat. I'm committed to cooking that food. I see myself cooking it. I see myself preparing it the way that I need to eat it and enjoy it. I see myself making the right choices around that food. I see myself, I envision my body becoming healthier, cleaner. I'm envisioning the whole process, right? And I do that on more than one occasion. For some people, it may be the physical activity. See yourself getting up, go to the gym. What does it sound like? What does it feel like, to work out and exercise? Bring all of your senses into what it is you want to manifest, right? Number 4, this is different from believing that you're worthy. This is actually believing the thing that you want to manifest. If you don't believe it, how's it going to come to pass, right? You will, if you're not believing it, you're going to feel the opposite of what you want to create. So remember, when manifesting, it's about what you really believe, not what you portray, but what's in your heart. So if you really believe that this is something that you can attain, then you will. And if you're having struggles between what it is you really believe that you want and what it is that you have, then you have to find a way to make those two the same thing. The sooner you do that, the faster you'll get to that space to where it becomes effortless to manifest these things. You'll stop hitting those brick walls and running into those no's, or even asking permission, right? These are things that if you believe it to be, then it's going to be. All right. And the 5th one. And this one's tricky for people because we see life through our filters, and our filters are created with ideas that we already know about. And so sometimes the art of manifesting, especially step number 5, which is recognizing it as if it is the truth, sometimes that is hard when we have for so long told ourselves something different, right? Our negative talk can sometimes cloud everything it is that we want. Our filters, our relationships, whether it's personal, professional. So that's a lot of work, recognizing it as it is, right? Our belief habits have an energy, and the energy of knowledge is stronger than the energy of belief, because a belief can change. But when you know something, it is what it. When you know the sky is blue, no one can tell you different. No one can tell you different. If you believe you're going to be rich one day, that leaves room for the possibility that it may not happen. But when you know, then you know, right? And you will move accordingly. Act as if you already have it. So when I share some of the tools with you for processing and manifesting, and the ones that have worked the most for me, which include prayer, meditation, journaling, and affirming, right? So when we think about prayer, a lot of times we envision the thing that we want for this other person. We can do the same thing for ourselves, right? And then I always say the next phase in prayer for manifestation is a simple thank you. Thank you, as if it already is. Because really that's our faith walk, right? If we know that it's going to be, and we're trusting, right? And we believe in here, and that we're worthy. Sometimes our prayer is not asking for anything. Sometimes it's just thank you. And that alone is such a shift. It creates such a shift. There's another prayer that I use from Marianne Williamson. A Course in Miracles is a course that she has taught for a very long time. But whenever I get stuck and I feel like I'm not sure about something, I do a simple mantra, and it is this: what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to whom? What would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say? And to who? And even if the answer doesn't come to me in that moment, I leave myself open to receive whatever it is I need to hear, see, or experience. And sometimes that comes from a total stranger. Sometimes that comes from a friend that, I haven't spoken to in a long time. Sometimes that comes from something I'm reading or listening to. If we leave ourselves open to it, we can hear it, right? So again, just remember that sometimes thank you is the prayer to help exasperate that gratitude and that manifestation. Meditation, as you heard in the intro, I suffered from panic attacks, anxiety attacks, depression in the 90s. And now I can't claim that I was like meditating to heal. I didn't know what that was, right? So, but I knew I was driven to be still. I knew I was driven to be still. And in that stillness was where I found my healing and I found my answers. And so a part of that meditation, a part of it was me using creative visualization to envision my next day. And if anyone here has ever experienced angst or anxiety or panic, you know what it's like, or even depression in particular, you know what it's like to struggle to get out of the bed in the morning. You know what it's like to struggle in your relationships, or you know how tiring it can be to explain this space that you're in to people that don't understand what's happening. So oftentimes, creative visualization was the thing that moved me through the day, because if I didn't see my day happening, I couldn't make it through the day. Like I had to see myself get up. I had to see myself drive at work, behind the desk, drive home. You know what I mean? So what that taught me was, by me seeing it first, created the avenue for my healing. Because what happened is I just began developing a new muscle. And so then I was operating on muscle memory. And then I was able to move through and navigate in a way that I wasn't able to do before. So I absolutely had to see it. That same energy, that same process is how manifestation works, right? You have to see it. And I was able to see myself on the other side of this darkness. I was able to see myself. And I mean, I went from living in California, working at a finance company, miserable, and to, after 2 years of healing, ended up in New York. Like, who does that? I was almost agoraphobic to the point where I could not leave my house, right? How do you do that and then move to New York? Like, I could not believe it. I was like, sometimes I would be on the subway, like, how did I get here? Like, I was not able to leave the house, a year and a half ago. So I attribute that not to me, to my work, but to God's work in my life and me surrendering to a process. Also by me manifesting what I wanted and needed at the time. I was open, I was receptive, I was trusting, and I honored my process. I saw what I wanted to create, and I think that together, I was able to accomplish those things with my relationship with God. Another tool that was really, really instrumental in manifesting was journaling. Journaling is tricky, right? Because some of us have had journals since we were little, and we write little things in there. Have you ever gone back and read it? It's hilarious, like stand-up comedy hilarious. Some of the stuff I used to write, I don't even know where it came from. But at any rate, there's a couple of things that's really, really powerful about journaling. One is it allows us a cognitive print when we write things, especially affirmations. When we share our thoughts, it is a safe place to pour ourselves out onto paper. And oftentimes people will write what they won't say. right? We will write what we won't say out of our mouths, but we will allow ourselves to pour that out on paper. And I think that it is a place for us to go back and revisit some of our truths, how we really feel about situations and circumstances and even ourselves, right? So, so I think that journaling, the other thing about journaling is sometimes there's a spiritual connotation to your words. And if you go back and read some of your past entries, it allows you to also see your growth. You know, if you've journaled for the last 3 or 4 years, yes, Veronica, it's very healthy. If you've journaled over the last 3 or 4 years and you read your journal from 3 or 4 years ago, you get to see in real time and in black and white how you have evolved and growth. And you're right, it does give direction, because as I was journaling through my process through depression and anxiety, when I read my journal, I literally had written out my life plan for the next year. And included in that plan was me leaving my job. So I was like, oh, okay. I honored that. Even though I was terrified, I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. And I honored the process. And I had no idea, I promise you guys, I had no idea I would end up in New York working at major labels with major artists for over 20 years, having a roster of amazing clients that I've only seen on television. I had never imagined that life for me. But what I realized is, as I was going through the steps, I was claiming my next step. When I went to New York, boom, that's what I want to do. You know what? I want to do this. You know what? I'm going to do this. It went from I want to, I'm going to, and then it went to I'm doing it. I'm doing it, right? And I have to say that my career in entertainment really catapulted me into this work, because there's so much imbalance in that world, right? People are they lack authenticity sometimes. There's an energy around there that was beginning to feel really heavy to me. And it didn't feel authentic to me anymore to be in this space. So that's when I moved into coaching, meditation, Reiki, the healing arts. And I realized, you know, as mentioned in the bio, that mind, body, and spirit, the alignment of those 3 things allow us access to our internal pharmacy. So I'm like, how do I get aligned, right? And it's not even balance, as I was mentioning to Nikisha before. It's harmony. The way that our lives are, our lives are not going to be perfectly balanced. It's not. And when we're manifesting these things in our lives, we want to be mindful of that. We're not going to be able to get that total, those pieces of pie lined up exactly. But if you are harmonious with the way that your pieces are set up, then you are good, right? It allows you it gives you freedom, and allows you to move forward without feeling any trouble or any of that stuff, because something doesn't look the way that you think it should look. So remember, it's not about harmony. It's not about balance. It's about harmony. Just like it's not about perfection, but it's about excellence. We're not ever going to be perfect, but we can operate in excellence. That's all anyone can ever ask us to do. And when manifesting, be mindful of that. You know, be mindful of how you're showing up in these spaces. And language. What are you speaking into your life? Every day I talk to people and I say, how are you doing? I'm making it. What are you claiming for yourself that day? What are you making? Did you wake up? Because some people didn't wake up today. So you're doing better than making it, in my opinion, right? It doesn't mean that you don't have bad days. It just means that you get to choose, right? And so the more you start to do that, the more you start to create and choose for yourself, the more you start to watch your language, the more you'll be able to have a clear vision of where it is you want to go. You'll also start to notice that people that are not in the same frequency as you will move away. And that will provide clarity for you. And then when you get really good at it, you'll not question the process. When something happens, falls away, changes, looks different, it's not going to be why. It's not going to be for me. It's not going to be, oh my God. It's going to be, thank you. It's going to be thank you, because you're learning to honor your processes and trusting that what you're manifesting for yourself, what you're claiming for yourself, and what you already know that you're worthy of is going to come to pass. So I'm going to open up to questions so that I'll get a chance to talk to everybody. I don't know if they're going to do that. Ursula, are you there? Oh, there you are.
Yeah, I'm right here. I'm right here.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, great information. I love the fact that it is about harmony. Balance
For sure.
Sometimes can be so challenging.
Right.
But harmony feels right.
You gotta be
just,
okay with
when
it.
you said that, it just spoke to my spirit. I'm like, oh, that feels right.
But think about, you're a mom, you're working, you and your husband are trying to make all these pieces work together, and then you're trying to have this perfect balance, and it's just not realistic. And it really, honestly, is setting you up, right? And then
yeah, right.
What are you teaching your kids?
Yeah.
What are you teaching those that are watching? So I believe harmony really does make a huge difference.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. I definitely do. Does anyone have any questions you guys want to ask Coach Raychell?
I can take my glasses off now since I
love that picture of Erica Badu that's behind you.
Thank you. That was
been standing out over
in New York. Yeah.
I love it.
You took your glasses off, but I sent you a message in the chat. But I'll just tell you. I'll just say it.
Okay.
You said something that was really powerful, and we have to understand that the words we speak, the tongue is powerful. It can speak blessings or it can speak curses.
100%.
So when say things like, I'm just making it, or I'm all right.
I'm all right.
That's what you're feeding your soul. That's what you're putting into your mind and your body. You have to start speaking things of positivity, like, I'm doing great. Even if you're feeling crappy, I'm doing great. Mind over matter. So
that's right.
That's sort of what I would
say. You
say.
also have to be careful in how you let people speak to you. That's just as important. And there's something else I want to say in this, in the spirit of entrepreneurship. Oftentimes, we're always telling ourselves that we're grinding. And that word, I don't like it, right? Because if I grind this pencil in this pencil sharpener, it is going to come up a nub one day.
That's right.
So that's what we're doing. So that word grind, if we can just get rid of it as it pertains to us.
Exit off.
Exit off, right?
Yeah. We need to strengthen our vocabulary too if we want to be positive minded. Things that we don't normally use, like great, fantastic, wonderful,
absolutely,
energetic, exciting. Those words that our culture is not used to hearing.
And how about blessed? Like, let's not forget, every day, you get to, I look at this, it's an opportunity to get it right and to do more, right?
Exactly.
And then when we are getting it right and doing more, then we get the opportunity to do it for someone else.
Oh yeah.
And I think that we missed that opportunity, unfortunately. But being blessed is something else.
Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that, Veronica, because that's been something that I've actually been working on the last couple of months or so. Really, really paying attention to what I'm saying, pausing before I give an opinion or remark on anything, to just kind of say, is that something that's going to be loving? Is that something that's going to be supportive? Or is that something going to be really, really negative? Because the words we speak aren't always about us. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not always about the person that we're saying it about. It's really more about us. And so we do have to be careful, because I used to say, oh, I'm doing okay. Now we say, I'm great. I'm having a great day.
Yeah.
And if I'm having more than a great day, then I say I'm having an amazing day.
Yeah.
But it sets the tone for the day. It sets the tone for how you feel. Because when I said that, I'm okay, then guess what? I had an okay day.
You had an okay day.
And wonder why I had an okay day. But those words are so incredibly powerful over just your daily life.
Right. Absolutely.
Yes.
And the other thing too that you mentioned, sometimes when you're mindful of what you're saying, it allows us the opportunity to be mindful of why we're saying it. What's our intention? Where's that coming from? You know what I mean? It gives us an opportunity to like check ourselves. Now, why would I say that to her?
Right.
Think about it.
Right.
Or why wouldn't I say that to her? You know what I mean? Like, it gives us the opportunity to really check ourselves and how we communicate with each other.
Right.
Exactly.
And on the lines of what you ladies said, there's something I just want to, share with you and feed the whole panel. Like a lot of times when we say stuff, we can't pull those words back.
Sure can't.
I was a detective for 23 years, and I learned how to testify. Before you speak, you pause. You give yourself a pause before you speak.
Very true.
If you have to count in your mind, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000.
Right.
That's a way that, for one, you don't show, and you pause with everything. Like, what is your name? Veronica Hall. I know my name, but when I get a question that I'm not sure of, it doesn't show that I'm indecisive or I'm telling you why. So give yourself a 3 to 5 second pause before, especially if you're upset, before talking to somebody, before answering somebody.
Yes.
But once we strengthen our vocabulary with those words, wonderful, excellent, amazing, outstanding, we'll speak easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Coach Raychell, what I wanted to ask you is, when you're doing your meditations, is there a specific manner in which you do it, or do you just kind of just go with how you feel that day, or is there a specific
personally, or when
process?
Personally, or when I'm teaching? Okay, so for me, okay, so normally when I'm teaching class, I always have some beginners in the class, and everyone always says the same exact thing: I can't get my mind to be still. Everyone believes that about themselves. So they believe themselves out of meditation, basically, right? Okay. But the reality is, you don't have to, your mind doesn't have to be still to meditate. Meditation is not about the absence of thought. It is about how you see the thought, right?
Wow.
And then oftentimes I start with guided, so that your mind is it's occupied anyway, whether that's counting breaths or envisioning and, listening to my voice and envisioning and following instruction. Either way, your mind is occupied. So whether it's like a chakra meditation or just a guided meditation, your mind is busy anyway, because you're listening to the voice. And, for myself, I've been doing it so long that I can count breaths. I can do mantras. I can just sit and be still, and it just depends on my why. Every day people make the assumption because I teach, I do it every day. I don't. I should, but I don't, but I do it most days. But I've learned that, just like how when people say, how you doing? I'm okay. How I meditate determines my day. Because in meditation, you get to create your day. You get to choose, you get to visualize what your day is going to look like.
True. Very true.
So no matter what comes along throughout the day, you've already made a decision about it. You've chosen not to give your power away. You've chosen to have a great day. You've chosen, there may be a situation that you have to deal with, or a meeting or a conversation. You've already seen that conversation. You already sent it an intention for it to be result oriented and peaceful and whatever. So you're moving into a space already with ammunition, not ammunition, but you know what I mean? Like I said ammunition. But you know what I mean? Like your intent, you have a clear intention about what you want the outcome of these conversations in your day to be overall.
Yeah. Right.
I do have one more question for you. At the end of the day, when you're trying to take it down and go to sleep, is there something that you would suggest to people like me who have trouble sleeping? I've been to sleep therapists 3. They've tried me on 13 different sleep medications. I haven't been to sleep through the entire night in over 21 years. And
that's interesting. Well, the lack of sleep is the end result, but you have to figure out the why. Why? What's causing you to not be able to sleep at night? So at some point, that's, it's rhetorical right now, but that's you need to figure that out. Like, what is it? What's underneath that lack of sleep? Because once you fix that, sleep is not going to be a problem.
We've been trying. I poll everybody. What you got? I'll try it. What you got?
Yeah. I don't mean to help you sleep. I mean the thing that stops you from being able to sleep. Not being able to sleep is just
3 sleep therapists equated it to PTSD, but I'm not accepting that.
Well, it's PTSD is not. I mean, it's not. It's information. That's all it is.
Right.
So now that you know that, then you can go even deeper. Like, so let's address it then. Then what is even that? There's something under that. You know, a PTSD is just, again, the end result of you responding to something. Right. So the question is, what is it that you're responding to? What is it that you are, you know, that's in your spirit or in your psyche that stops you from being able to have peace at night? I will say this though, whenever I have trouble sleeping, I use lemon balm in my oil burner. In a glass of wine. No, I'm just joking. So, but no, I
wine
will
works
say
for me.
No, lemon balm does help a lot. Some people use lavender, but lemon balm helps me sleep. But I don't really have an issue sleeping. So I would say to you, as opposed to saying I don't receive that, okay, that's some information that you can use. But what's underneath that? You know, PTSD is just a diagnosis, but what's the cause of it? Because once you can start to like kind of pull that apart and look at it for what it is, maybe, I don't know, maybe not peace, but have harmony with some of the stuff related to that, then it might give you some peace to sleep.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes you gotta, do a little, with therapy sometimes too, they sometimes deal with symptoms as well as to dealing with the core, you know. But I would say once you figure that out, you'll be able to sleep. Have you tried hypnosis?
I have not. I'm afraid of that.
Okay. All right. Well, when you break through the fear, try it. Also,
acupuncture I've tried.
Okay. And that didn't help you. Okay. All right.
I've done hypnosis before. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. Try it.
Yes, Veronica, you'd be surprised.
I'll talk to you about that later.
Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah. No problem. Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? Comments? Coach Raychell, you have been wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Notes. I love your energy. I love,
you.
There's a level of comfort about you that makes you feel comfortable opening up and sharing. So I thank you for your energy. I thank you for what you do. Did you provide your information if anyone wants to get in touch?
I can certainly share it here. Coach Raychell is my social media handle on Twitter and Instagram. Raychell LeBlanc is my Facebook, but I also have a Coach Raychell page on Facebook. My website is MyName.com, RaychellLeBlanc.com. Yeah. And my Patreon page, I will be doing some manifestation workshops, some chakra workshops on my Patreon page. And that's just Coach Raychell at Patreon. You can plug my name in there. I'll see if I can get it. As a matter of fact, let me see. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up for you guys now.
You can do a screen share and you can also put it in the chat for everyone.
Okay, so let me pull up my page. Because it's on the phone. Patreon. Let's see, go. Copy. I'm gonna send it to myself because I'm doing the live on
your phone,
on my iPad. So
okay.
Patreon. All right. There we go. So let me just hop just really quickly over here. Copy. And I'll drop it in the chat. And if you guys have any questions, please let me know. A couple of things that I do. Sometimes I'll do a nighttime meditation. A guided meditation in the evening around 9-ish bedtime, right? So I normally announce that on my Twitter page or on my Facebook page, just sharing the Zoom so people can tune in. And then for those that are interested in actually doing classes or regular sessions, I do them once a week. And it's $10 a class. So,
Okay.
yeah. Mm-hmm.